Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue on with the exercise. We're going to go ahead and add some more view controllers onto our main storyboard. But before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the item that I have in my view controller code, the tab bar item badge value. So I will just go ahead and delete that. I'm going to go back into my main storyboard. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select on my first item, my red scene, and I'm just going to go ahead and update my view controller name to red. And then I'll select my second item, view scene, and then I will go ahead and update the name to orange. Okay, so I have the names updated so that they appear in my view controller. So the next thing they want us to do is they want us to go ahead and add some additional view controllers, a yellow, green, and blue one. So let me go ahead and decrease the size here again so I can go ahead and place those onto my storyboard. So I'll click on my objects. I'll go ahead, add a view controller. Go ahead, click on objects again, add another view controller, and then finally I'll go ahead and add one more view controller to my scene. The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure and connect these so we can go ahead and add tabs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and control click on my tab view controller and then drag down to my first one and select view controllers. Go ahead and do that for my second one. Select view controllers for my relationship segue. And then finally, I'll go ahead and do that for the last one that I've added. And select relationship view controller segue. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this so this my scene looks a little better. So if you want to move a view controller in your storyboard, you can just go ahead and click so you have the view controller selected, and I'm just going to go ahead and line it up, and then I'm going to click on my red one and just move the red one and line these up here a little better so they've all lined up. Okay, so I have my view controllers connected. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and select on my first one. The title of that is going to be yellow. And then I'll go ahead and click on the actual view down below, and we'll go ahead and change the background color to yellow. Go ahead, click on the next one. The next one will be the green one. So I'll click on the heading, or go ahead and make sure I have my view controller, my items selected, and I'll change the title to green. And then I'll go ahead and click on the view, make sure I have my view selected, and change the background color to green. And then finally I'll do that for my last item scene. I'll click on my item and I'll update the title to blue. And then I'll click on my view and I will update my color to blue. Just go ahead. Okay, so I've updated the items. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go into my tab controllers for each one of these. Go ahead and change that first one to yellow and update my image to a Y. Go ahead and select the second one, update my image to a G, and we'll go ahead and change the item title to green. And then finally we'll click on our last tab controller for my blue, update the image to B, and change my title to blue. Okay, so we've gone ahead, we've added, we've updated all of our view controllers. We currently have them on the scene. If you look at the top, let me go ahead and increase the size here a little bit. And it looks like the area is pretty filled up here. So what's going to happen if we go ahead and add a new view controller to our scene? So I'm going to go ahead and decrease the size of it, and I will add one more view controller. I will click on my tab view controller, control click, drag down to the next one we've added, select view controllers for my relationship. I'll go ahead and select my tab controller. We do not have an image, a P image, so I'll just go ahead and add purple for my title. And then I'll go ahead and change the color to purple. And then what I want to do over to the left under my purple scene, I'll select the item and I will update my title to purple. Okay, so now we've updated that. So now if I expand my scene, what you're going to see up above is a more button. Let me go ahead and expand it so it shows more. So what it did is there's not enough real estate to add that last tab controller, so it actually adds a more controller for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run our app and see what actually happens now. So the app is currently, our simulator is currently launching. While it's doing that, we can change our orientation here. Well, looks like it's launched. So we have our red, we have our orange, we have our yellow, we have our green. And then down below we have the more button. So if you click on more, basically what it comes up with the last two colors, our blue or our purple. So if I select purple, it'll go ahead and show purple. If I go ahead and select blue, it'll go ahead and show blue. So what they recommend in the text is that when you're designing iPhone apps and you're using a tab controller, you should have a maximum of 5 tab controllers. Otherwise, it requires the user to click on the more button and then select the various colors. So just an extra item that the user needs to go through to select those. So I'm just going to Command Q out of here to close it. And let me go into my tab controller. I'll change the orientation. So now you can see that the titles are over to the right. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Currently, the only view controller code that we currently have defined controls our red view. So if you wanted to write code and update the various other views, you would need to go ahead and create their own view controller classes. So that's what we're going to walk through next. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my storyboard, click on my view controller, and I'm going to go ahead and update the name to my red view controller. And then I'm going to update my class name. You do not have to update the class name, but it's a very good idea to make sure that your class name file names match with the actual name in your view controller file. So I've updated that first one. There's one more step we need to do. I need to go ahead and click on my main storyboard, and I need to go ahead and find my red scene and click on my red scene, and then I need to go in and I need to go ahead and change the class that's actually controlling that. what it was my view controller class, but what I need to do is I need to go ahead and change that to my red view controller. So whenever you add a new view controller class, you need to go ahead and make that update so you know what class is controlling which one of your view controllers. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and add files, view controllers for my other colors here. So one of the ways you can do that is just click on Command N. So I'll just go ahead and click on that, and we want to go ahead and add a Cocoa Touch class, so I'll make sure that's selected. It's going to be a subclass of our UI view controller, and the name of it is going to be orange, so I'll just go ahead and add that. Click on Next. We want to make sure it's under our Rainbow Tabs project folder, so I'll click on Create. And what you see now is you've seen that class has been created. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create the classes. We'll do a Command N. Click on Next. Next one will be a yellow. Go ahead, click on Next, and click on Create. We'll do a Command N again. Make sure I have my Cocoa Touch class selected. We'll add a green one. Green view controller. We'll click on Next. We'll click on Create. The other way you can create a class is you can go up and select on File and select New and New File, or Command N. So I'll go ahead and do it that way. We're going to go ahead and create a blue view controller. One thing you want to make sure is that you want to make sure the subclass is a UI view controller. Once you select it, it should be available, but when you start creating other types of controllers, you'll want to verify your subclass. So I'll click on blue, click Create, and then finally I'll Command N. We'll go ahead, click Next, and click on purple, click on View Controller, click Next, click Create, and then the next thing I need to do is I need to associate each one of my view controllers with the appropriate class. So I'll click on my orange, I'll go in my UI class, I'll select my orange view controller, I'll go ahead, select yellow, select my yellow view controller, go ahead and click on green, and make sure I have green selected there. And it's my green view controller. And then for my blue scene, I'll select blue. I'll add my blue view controller. And then finally for my purple scene, I'll select purple. And I will go ahead and change the class. So it's my purple view controller. So now, if you added code into those view controllers, it would control the scene associated with that custom class. So now each one of our view controllers on our storyboard are associated with a view controller class that we can go ahead and add code to change what is being done on that storyboard. So I'll just go ahead and click the Run button one more time. And then after that, I'll click on one of the classes. All we really have is we just have the viewDidLoad methods in there. So especially in CIS 265, you're going to be adding a lot of code to your view controllers. So that is something that's going to be coming in 265. So click on orange, orange works. I'll click on more, blue works. Click on purple, purple shows up. Click on green, click on yellow. Click on orange, and it looks like everything is working correctly. So that is it for tab controllers. So I will be putting video together for the next lesson that we're going to be going over.